Hi, everybody.
Oh, I almost tripped right into
I
you.
know.
I know, my goodness. Good to see you. Hi, you must be. Awesome show. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes, you can hear me? All right, thank you so much. Thank you for being here for the business session. We will get started at this time. I call the meeting to order.
All right. Madam Moderator, the agenda for the October 18th and 19th, 2024 Regional Assembly for the Christian Church Disciples of Christ of the Pacific Southwest region has been distributed, and I present the agenda in the booklets for adoption by the Assembly as the first order of business for this Assembly to consider.
The first item is the adoption of the agenda. The agenda is moved by the Business Committee and is presumed to have been properly seconded. Is there discussion? 18. Thank you. All right. We will now vote on the motion. All those in favor of the motion to adopt the agenda as presented, please raise your voter card, which is inside of your name tag. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please lower your voter card. All those opposed, please raise your voter card. Okay, thank you. Seeing none, the motion has passed. Thank you. I now call on Reverend Yvette Becerra to discuss the rules of procedure.
Thank you. All right, the rules of procedure are found on your program, pages 20 and 21. Right there you find an outline of the procedures that we will follow during our 2 business sessions. While the privilege of debate is granted to all, voting on business matters is limited to those designating as voting representatives or their alternate. The business items requiring discussion and a vote will occur during the business session tomorrow at 11 a.m. We will be voting tomorrow at 11 a.m. Because this is a new procedure, we will take a little extra time to ensure that we are properly prepared for the resolution relating to the re-election of the regional minister. Paper ballots will be distributed to those with a voter card at voting stations arranged around the sanctuary. Please be patient, as it may take a few minutes for the counters to get an accurate count. A total of 15 minutes of debate has been allocated. Each person wishing to speak is limited to no more than 3 minutes. Microphones will be silenced at the end of those 3 minutes so that we may allow as many speakers to speak as possible. Please plan accordingly. Microphones have been designated. The microphone to the far right of the stage is for procedural questions. The other microphone is for speakers in support or in opposition to the motion being discussed. Those wishing to speak should remain next to a microphone when addressing the assembly. If you are unable to make your way to a microphone, please make yourself known to Joy by raising your hand, and she will call upon you. Please wait to be recognized by the chair, then state your name and church. This is particularly important for the written record of the meeting. If you do not offer that information as you begin speaking, Joy will need to stop you and ask you to provide it. Just a friendly reminder that this session is being recorded, so any comments that are shared in this space will live on the internet forever. Madam Moderator, I move that the rules of procedure for the business session as detailed in the program booklet, pages 20 to 21, be adopted.
Thank you. The rules of procedure come to the Assembly from the Business there any discussion? Now, it is time to vote to approve the rules of procedure. If you wish to adopt them, please take your voter card and raise it at this time. Thank you. Those opposed, please raise your voter card at this time. Thank you. Seeing none opposed, the motion has carried. Thank you. Reverend Rip Ripito, the second vice moderator, who serves as the chair of the business committee, will introduce each item on the agenda. The introduction of each item is considered the main motion and is assumed to have been properly seconded. Please allow me to introduce Mr. Bill Jennison of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in the Northern Lights region, who will serve as the parliamentarian for our business session. Yes, I'm going to share a little bit of information about him with you. Mr. Jennison is a retired attorney who has consulted with numerous organizations, primarily church-related, on matters of governance and drafting governance documents. He currently serves on the governance committee of the General Board and chaired the design alignment team, which drafted the changes to the design of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, which were adopted in 2023 by the Louisville General Assembly. He has also served as an assistant parliamentarian at the last several General Assemblies. Bill resides in Spokane, Washington with his wife, Debbie. He is immediate past moderator of the Northern Lights region and the region's General Board representative. He is a member of North Hill Christian Church, where he serves as elder and is currently the congregation's moderator. Welcome, Bill. We're so glad to have you. We also have Reverend Sarah Ritchie, pastor of First Christian Church San Bernardino, and also a member of the executive committee who will serve as scribe. Mr. Vice Moderator, what is the next item of business?
Madam Moderator, the next item of business is reports from the PSWR units. These reports are in video format.
I invite you to please pay attention to the videos that will be on the screens in front of you. We love technology. So as we wait for those unit reports, I would like to thank all of the units that did provide their reports in video form this year. We have All People's Community Center, Eastmont Community Center, Project Impact, and Disciples Seminary Foundation. If we do not have those ready at this time, we will move on and we will come back at a later time. So, we would like to now call upon our guest that we have with us today. I would like to call on Dr. Pramanik and Mr. Charlie Cutler to approach the dais, please. Dr. Pramanik will bring greetings from the Evangelical Hospital Society of Pswr, India. If I pronounced that correctly or not. Thank you. Let's give her a hand.
One of the many things that we've been able to do with our partners that we have abroad is that we're actually serving in 90 different countries, and we have 250 different partners that we work with. And so we've actually have this fortunate opportunity to have Dr. Pramanik come and speak with our churches. So for the past 6 weeks, she's been traveling across the U.S. to various states and meeting with congregations, meeting with pastors, meeting with regions. She's attended another regional assembly as well, so this is her second one. And actually, on Monday, she'll be doing a webinar on our website. So if you are interested in what she's presenting now and want to hear more, I invite you to go to the Global Ministries page as well and sign up for that, and then you'll be able to learn a lot more about the work that she's doing. But without further ado, because I don't want to take up any more time that I just usurped from Dr. Pramanik, I want to give a formal introduction. Thank you for being with us.
Okay. A very good afternoon to all of you. I'm so glad that I could be a part of this regional assembly, and I'm so glad to stand here before you to just present about the hospital where I work as a medical director and a general surgeon for the last 14 years. And I'll be sharing to you a little about how our hospital is connected with Global Ministries, UCC, and Disciples, and the current work that is going on in the hospital. Request you to kindly play the slides on. Okay, so this is the hospital. This hospital's name is Evangelical Hospital, Khariyar. It was established in the year 1930 by American Evangelical Missionaries of the Evangelical Synod, which is a predecessor body of the United Church of Christ and now the Global Ministries. Next slide, please. So you must be wondering where Khariyar is. So Khariyar is actually located in the state of Odisha, which is the eastern state, as you can see in the map of India, which is one of the southern part of the Asia continent. And we work in a place called Khariyar. Next slide. The founders were Reverend Herman Feyerabend and his wife, a trained nurse, Sister Mary Feyerabend. They came in 1923 to establish evangelism. And while they were working there, they lost 2 of their very young children to communicable diseases. And the nearest medical facility was 3 days far. And that's when they realized that the place actually needs a hospital, and that's how Evangelical Hospital Khariyar was born. Next slide. So the work that they started in 1923 has today bloomed into all these things. We have a church which just celebrated their 100th year with 2,000 2,000 members in the church. We have a hospital which is now 94 years old, a girls' home where 66 orphan and semi-orphan girls are receiving education from grade 1 to grade till high school, and also a school, a primary school which supports 50 children. Next slide. You can just play it on. Yeah. So as Fury was just introducing that Global Ministry, we are a mission partner of Global Ministries, and Global Ministry is a common witness of Disciples of Christ and UCC, and that is how I got this opportunity by Reverend Richie to stand here and speak to all of you. And I thank you so much for the connection that extends across the globe. Next slide. Okay, next slide. Yeah. So, so I'm really thankful for this opportunity that I have received to stand here and establish the connection that extends and to say something about our hospital. Next slide. So this hospital is stretched over 42 acres of land. We have 15 in-house doctors and currently around 180 staff. It is a registered society, and it caters not only to the needs of our population in that same district, but surrounding districts of Odisha, same state, and the surrounding state. Next slide. So there is an outpatient department in which we see, patients of all kinds like medicine, surgery, obstetrics, orthopedics, psychiatry, and we also have pediatrics and anesthesia department. Next slide. The hospital is 94 years old. The buildings are of a very, make in which the roofs are made up of tin and we have earthen tiles. So that imposes challenges in the heat when the temperatures can soar up to 110 to 120 Fahrenheit, and in the rainy season when water leaks. And this place also has infestation of snakes and scorpions, so we have to preserve our patients and staff from these conditions. Next slide. Despite these conditions, God has been blessing this institution immensely, and we have a very healthy surgical unit where we perform all kinds of general surgery, which extends not only to general surgery but pediatric surgery, urology, laparoscopic surgeries, orthopedics, obstetrics and gynecology, oncological surgeries, and we also do some camps where we do very small neonates as pediatric surgery camps. Next slide. We also have progressed with time, and we have a very updated lab services which includes pathology, biochemistry and hematology. We also have a blood bank which does a lot of good work in saving many lives, because we have lots of patients who come to us with anemia because of sickle cell disease, because of pregnancy related nutritional anemias, patients who come with cancers and low hemoglobin, patients with road traffic accidents, and Evangelical Hospital Khariyar serves as a beacon of light and hope for them. Next slide. We also have updated digital services in terms of digital X-rays and a 4D ultrasound, which is the most latest ultrasound unit in which we can perform, even the neonates can be screened in utero for any diseases that they have, and perform echoes also in the same unit. We also have a physical therapy unit, which is the oldest in the whole district. Next slide. We have moved with the times, and we also have now a dialysis unit with 3 machines, because we see a lot of patients with chronic renal failures, and sometimes we need to do like 3 sittings a day because the paucity of the machine and the magnanimity of the cases that we see in that area. The reason is because of sickle cell disease, and also because of the water that they intake, which is not pure and has a lot of lead in it. So we see a lot of these cases. So we also do preventive approach of teaching the patients how to, clean the water, drink purified water. Yeah, next slides, please. We also got the gift, received a donation for the CT scan, and we are the only center in the entire district to have a CT scanner. It really helps us because we see a lot of patients with road traffic accidents, because our hospital is located on a freeway, and also we have a lot of cancer patients whom we treat, and we need to have the imaging studies done before we treat them. So it is very helpful for us. Being in a remote area, we started off with teleradiology, like we used to do the CTs and send it to another center to report, but right now we also have an in-house radiologist. Next slide. God has been really blessing us. The institution, which started as a 4-bedded dispensary, because there was no doctor, now today it's a 110-bedded hospital, and we have moved on from a secondary to a mid-tertiary level because we started ICU and HDU facility. It's a fully equipped ICU and HDU with 12 beds, which ventilators and all life-saving equipments and devices to save the lives of patients at a very, very nominal cost, because people here cannot pay. Their paying capacity is very poor, but due to the ethos that we follow of treating the poorest of poor with the best possible way, we never deny treatment because of a patient who cannot pay. Next slide. We were progressive in the sense that when COVID touched India in March 2020, our administrative team didn't know what impact it's going to be on the patient, but we as an administrative team felt that we need to have an in-house oxygen generator plant, and with the little resources we had, we we had a 83 liters per minute oxygen plant in place in the hospital to supply the needs of the hospital. And that was really helpful when actually the Delta wave hit us, because, you know, people were like flocking to us for oxygen. And this was one center which never denied any patients for oxygen therapy or for treatment. And we had many patients who received treatment and with mild to moderate COVID and were healed. Next slide. We also used artificial intelligence in our hospital because, you know, many of our staff were falling ill with COVID and we needed immediate treatment measures. So we used to screen every patient who come to us with a X-ray and a CRP, and this X-ray would immediately within 3 minutes tell us if a patient was actually more sick than he or she looked. So we could immediately start the treatment and, you know, pull them out from going into the severe form before required. That saved a lot of lives. Next slide. We also were in need of an emergency facility. We didn't have one, and we were seeing patients in a little room of the hospital. But by God's grace, in 2023, we inaugurated our own 3-bedded emergency services, which has like all life-saving equipments, a doctor and a nurse always in there to save lives of patients who come to us. And we see lots of patients with road traffic accident, poisoning, snake bites, psychiatric mental health issues, with suicides, attempted suicides, and homicides. So this really helps us to give a good and effective treatment to these kinds of patients. Next slide. Going forward in our life of the hospital, we had the need of a pediatric unit, and God blessed us with a lady, elderly lady, who committed her life to rest of her life to serve in the hospital as a senior pediatrician with 30 years of experience. So in faith, we started building the pediatric ward. Global Ministry has been instrumental in helping us providing some of the finances to build this ward. This ward is almost in completion, and we are going to inaugurate this 14-bedded pediatric ward with 2 HDU beds on this end of this month. Next slide. So the future plans, we plan to dedicate this pediatric ward with 12 beds and 2 HDU beds. As you have already seen the infrastructure, we are planning to build a new infrastructure for our inpatients to provide them a better quality care, and we also want to build a new building for our lab. And I am also a trained palliative medicine doctor, and we have a team which consists of a palliative nurse, chaplain, and a social worker, and we are waiting for our affiliation to officially start a palliative care unit, and we also want to start a nursing school. So I pray that all of you will remember us and pray for us, and thank you for your support in all these years. Thank you.
For that excellent sharing about all of the wonderful things going on in correctly, Hariyar, India, yes, Evangelical Hospital. Thank you so much.
I would like to introduce Mr. Charlie Cutler of Church West Insurance Services in Redlands, who will share some of the difficult insurance issues that are emerging in the insurance market now. And then Reverend Pryor, you'll follow right after that.
Well, thank you, Rip.
You don't look like Charlie.
I could only wish. But I want to bring news on behalf of Charlie and his regrets for having a schedule change and not being with us this afternoon. But there are many of us that had an opportunity to be at the HR event this morning. If you want to just wave at us, yes, thank you. Thank you for spending time with us this morning, meeting Charlie, and also meeting 2 of his additional staff members that he brought from Church West. Church West is the insurance broker for all of our work as a region, and so I wanted to speak good on his behalf to not hold it against him that he's not here for us this afternoon. It was his full intention to address you, to be able to describe indeed what you're already experiencing. The challenges of trying to keep your insurance policies for the local congregations, and on the same to watch increases as they go. And then part of it was for him to also celebrate the relationship that we do have in the insurance board that allows us to continue to insure Loch Levin. And so he was good to explain these kinds of relationships that we have this morning with those who had come to the HR event. Because Loch Levin is so important to many of us, he wanted to share that this insurance policy really is only possible through the insurance board because of all of you, because of your faithfulness to participate with the insurance board with your own policies, and to bear, I guess, some of the brunt as we continue to deal with increases in our insurance costs. They do have a number of new things to kind of share with you, and so please feel free to visit Church West, their website. For us as a region, we are really looking forward to stretching the legs pretty much of our Disciples Ministry Center in partnership with a lot of the organizations that make up Church West. And so he's building services and capacities, partnerships with, oh my God, HR Network, which is a network that allows congregations such as yourselves, leaders, to be able to connect into the network and to deal with the important HR matters. It is always a gift when we get your phone calls about questions inside the office, questions like AB 506 and other new things that are occurring here in Southern California, but then also in different parts of the region that we do serve. So for us, we are anticipating more and more work to be able to build capacity for us in this new climate and these new lived realities that we are sharing together. But I just wanted to announce on behalf of Bruce and myself that it is indeed a gift to work with Charlie. We have worked with BQB, which is one of the law firms that is partnered with Charlie, and then also with the HR network. So just be looking out in the next couple of weeks and couple of months, in your emails and in the mail, invitations to be able to spend time here at the Disciples Ministry Center, building capacity around very important issues that affect our life together. But then also, Charlie on his website will invite you to what's called the HR Boot Camp, which those of us that were together this morning, it was only a 2-hour kind of summary, and the boot camp really spends the entire day diving in deeper with a lot of the professionals to kind of build what we really need. And so the HR Boot Camp, you can kind of find more information on the website that will help us move forward. I would only conclude with the comment about Charlie and the beautiful people at Church West. I'm sorry, he probably wouldn't like me saying this, but he's so cutting edge that their offices all have electric vehicles, and so he is happy to kind of share with me the important parts of being able to be responsible to our environment and all these things. And I think his vehicles start with a T. E something like that, but no, it's always a fresh experience to work with individuals who are so conscious about cost of the insurance policies and vision for the future. And so just a word on his behalf again to say he regrets that he couldn't be here to say these few things to you, and probably much more, but we'll be hearing from him much more with events very soon. Okay, so thank you, Rick. Appreciate that.
And thank you, Charlie Culler. Thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce the Reverend Rachel Pryor, who was installed this past June as conference minister of our partners, the Southern California and Southern Nevada Conference of the United Church of Christ.
Thank you.
I'll just amend that to say I wasn't actually installed yet.
Oh.
Just started is how we do it. But 1/11 at 11 a.m., 1/11/11, you can remember, of January 11th, 2025, will be my service of installation at Montebello Plymouth United Church of Christ in Los Angeles County. So I'm super excited for that. Would love to see any of you, all of you there. And we'll be sending information about that and an invitation to Richie and others in the region. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here to say hello. I'm so glad that you get to see me so you know who I am. So hopefully you'll feel comfortable reaching out. It's been a long process of transition for the Southern California Nevada Conference to call a new settled conference minister. And so if it has felt like we've been sort of out of touch or not as quick to respond for the last couple of years, that's accurate, yes. It's felt like that for us too. But we're here, and I've really jumped in and hit the ground running, and these opportunities are so important to me. 20 years ago today, I was sitting in a classroom at Eden Seminary listening to Dr. Michael Kinnaman talk about the history and theology of the ecumenical movement. And that was, for me, the moment where I gained the language and the tools for work that was very important to my heart from a very early age, and through my experience of growing up in the UCC, through my experience of studying abroad for my senior year of high school at Woodstock International School in Missouri, India, through other opportunities to live and work abroad, and it felt like finally I had the access and the information that I needed to do that important ecumenical work. I was able to participate in a young missiologist consultation at the Vatican that January of 2005, cementing my commitment to the ecumenical movement. And then I left Eden Seminary and went to Princeton Seminary, where I graduated, which was a very important formative event for me. I really grew up in the UCC in a progressive church, and I thought that that's all there was. I thought that just all Christians were like this. This is how this was our theology and our way of being together. And it was very important for me to experience that that was not necessarily the case. So that a year later, when I was sitting in a theology precept, small group at Princeton, and we were talking about what it meant to be Christian, and one of my classmates said, "How could you possibly be Christian if you're not Trinitarian?" And I said, "Haven't you guys ever heard of the disciples of Christ?" So I hope that I brought so much from what I learned at Eden to that space, and I continue to bring so much of what I learned in both of those spaces to the ministry that I do and my commitment to ecumenical ministry and relationships. And I hope that for you that will feel like an authentic and genuine invitation to relationship. Please reach out. Please call on us. Please invite us to continue strengthening this relationship. And thank you so much for the opportunity to share with you today. And good luck in the rest of your meeting. It's great to be here and have no responsibilities whatsoever for this event.
Thank you, Reverend Pryor. We appreciate you bringing greetings to us today.
At this time, we also would like to, yes, is my mic on? Okay. At this time, we'd also like to introduce another ecumenical guest that we have with us. This is the Reverend David Berkedahl, who is an Evangelical Lutheran Church in America pastor in the Southwest California Synod. Would you please stand? So nice to have you with us. And we also know him as the beloved husband of Reverend Sally Welch. Amen. Amen. So now, at this time, we are supposed to have our video report from Reverend Terry Hord Owens, our General Minister and President, but I understand that nope, okay. So we will have that video at this time after all. Okay, there we go.
Hello, Pacific Southwest disciples. This is your General Minister and President, Terry Hord Owens. I'm so excited to share with you some highlights about what is happening across the life of our church, a mini State of the Church address based on information that I share with the General Board every year. Looking forward to being with you in person later on Friday evening and then all day on Saturday. I'm currently in Nashville at the meeting of the National Council of Churches Christian Unity Gathering and Governing Board. I serve as treasurer and chair of the Finance Committee for the National Council of Churches Board, and so my obligation was to be here and be present for this meeting. But I'm looking forward to being with you, and my husband Walter will be joining me, so we'll see you very soon. The state of our church is in the midst of great and historic change. In July of 2023, the General Assembly approved an important resolution affectionately known as GA 2343 and called simply Amendments to the Design of the Christian Church. Two important areas of change. One, the General Assembly, and two, the General Board. Now, the General Assembly is not just a meeting. It's not an event. You, in fact, church, are the General Assembly. The legal name of our church is actually the General Assembly of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ in the United States and Canada. We are the General Assembly meeting in Louisville, the General Assembly meeting in Memphis. So the General Assembly will now begin to meet after the 25 General Assembly in Memphis. We will meet on an every 3-year cycle, and we will, in the in-between years, hold an online meeting for all voting delegates. Every congregation will now have 3 voting delegates who will serve a 3-year term. So you'll serve for the entire period from one assembly to the next in-person meeting. Those online meetings, don't think of them as us trying to take 5 days of in-person activities and put it all online on Zoom. That's not what we're doing. We want to provide the opportunity for congregational delegates and anyone who cares to attend these online assemblies, because you will be able to access those sessions just as non-voting delegates are able to access our in-person General Assembly meetings today. We want to spend that time addressing the issues and concerns that you have on the local level that you think require and merit conversation across the life of the church. We don't spend enough time learning about what the issues are. We don't spend enough time listening to one another and working through situations when we disagree. It's not enough to simply be silent when we disagree. It's important that we learn to hear one another, learn deep listening, and navigate the way forward together. We are that church that says it's committed to Christian unity, which is not unanimity, it's not conformity, but it is the difficult task of walking together in love, even when we disagree. As we think about how these online sessions will work, we're not imagining a 5-day Zoom meeting. We're thinking about perhaps one day here, one day there, when the online conversation is just that. It's conversation, perhaps it's learning and presentation about an issue or an idea, and we'll have the opportunity to hear from one another, maybe have local small group conversation, but you might be gathering as you are now at First Christian Church in Fullerton with people from across your region or maybe several congregations together, listening to the live stream and the general feed, and having a microphone there that would allow you to go to the mic and speak to the whole church as the General Assembly is gathering. Listening, learning, discerning, and deciding so that together we can decide what action we take. I think this will be a revolutionary change in the life of our church, that we spend as much time listening and learning as we do just giving up or down votes on various resolutions. The second big part of this change is with the General Board. Currently, every region and every general ministry each send voting a delegate, and then the regional ministers and general ministry presidents are ex officio without vote. The general ministry presidents and regional ministers will remain ex officio without vote, but there will be 50 voting members chosen from across the life of the church, trying to curate a diverse board, not only in terms of identity, but in terms of professional skills and gifts that they bring to the work of the church. So while you may be from Pacific Southwest, you are there on the general board to ensure that a wide diversity of perspectives is present, but also to think holistically about the best way for the whole church to move forward. With 50 voting members, it will definitely be the goal to ensure that there is at least one person from each region to ensure that geographic diversity. But we're looking for educators and financial people and organizational development people, financial people, artists, creatives, as well as clergy and lay. The whole church will be invited to nominate people to be considered by the General Nominating Committee to sit on the general board, and you'll soon be hearing information about how that nominating process will begin. Those names will be solicited and decisions will be made so that we can take a slate of names to the general board in April for approval by the General Assembly when it meets in Memphis in July of 2025. Lots of communication and education that will be necessary, particularly in that first year. The general board will be meeting now twice a year, once virtually and once in person. That will take a lot of education and collaboration as we learn these new ways and new processes. This isn't just a project that will be over once it's done. This is really setting ourselves on the path to being church together in a different way. The implementation team that has been working on the new standing rules for the general board, special rules and procedures for the General Assembly, and special rules for the administrative committee, which will now be known as the executive committee, has been led by your own Reverend Belva Brown Jordan. As you know, Belva recently completed her time as serving as moderator of the General Assembly. She served an historically long term, 4 years from 2019 to 2023 because of the global pandemic, and before that, 2 years as moderator-elect. I'm so grateful for Belva's wisdom and her grace and the spiritual depth that she brings to anything that she does, and she has been the right person chosen by our moderator to lead this process forward. Pay attention to Disciples News Service and our social media platforms through the fall, and then in early 2025, you will see opportunities to be online for about an hour for town hall sessions that will give you highlights of what's going on. We're trying to do as we did leading up to General Assembly 23, ensuring that we have an important educational process going on so that people are coming to the General Assembly meeting in Memphis in 2025 as prepared and educated as possible. You can go to covenant-project.disciples.org and see information. Covenant is still at the heart of the work that we are doing. It's still at the heart of why these changes are necessary. We don't have a hierarchical, authoritarian form of government. There is no top-down mechanism in our church. Each congregation brings its own voices and gifts, each region, each general ministry. We have so many clergy. We believe in the firm leadership and equal leadership among laity. We are a want-to people, a people who want to work together, not a people who have to. And we want to ensure that as we move forward into this new way of being the General Assembly of the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, this new way of doing our business as the General Board, becoming more of a working board, bringing different skills to the table and allowing people to serve longer terms so that the knowledge that we have available to us is consistent, and we're working with a longer span of time where people can generate and create their own institutional knowledge and memory in the life of the church. I'm so excited about all the changes that are happening, and I hope that you'll be paying attention and seeking to hear more through the town halls, and even hoping you can attend the General Assembly in Memphis in 2025. One of the things that I shared with the General Board was a series of graphs and information that we shared from Alex, our system that we call Data for Disciples. If you're a congregation and you've been entering your yearbook information every year in Alex, I invite you to stay tuned, because when we do the reporting for the 2024 year, which will open in early 2025, Alex will have a fresh new look. Alex will have new reporting capabilities, and we hope that Alex will be a lot easier for you to use. We're grateful to Reverend Dean Phelps, retired disciples minister, who serves in the office of the General Minister and President as our ministry information consultant, and the Reverend Adam Freeberg, who himself holds a PhD in data analytics, who has been behind the scenes building our data warehouse that allows us to do more in-depth querying and data mining. Some of the graphs, and one of the most important graphs that we showed at the General Board, included this particular statistic that has really caught fire to share how we are looking as a church in 2024. About 67% of our congregations worship an average of 50 people or less on a Sunday morning. I'm going to say that again. 67%, a little over 2/3 of disciples' congregations, have our congregations that worship an average of 50 or less on a Sunday. The larger churches that are over 100, 200 people are less than 1% of our total. We are, in effect, a fellowship of smaller congregations. So what does that mean when we understand that we are, in fact, smaller, not just in terms of total number, but the size of our individual congregations is getting smaller? That begins to speak to kinds of resources that we need. It begins to speak to the socioeconomic context, whether you're a rural congregation in an area where industry has dried up, young people are moving away, or whether you're in an urban center, or whether we are all, as most mainline denominations are, seeing a moving away from even affiliating with any kind of institution from the standpoint of membership. Everybody doesn't go to church in the same way they did before. And what people are looking for is not something to join, but something to be a part of that matters, something where they feel they're having an impact on the world. The Pew Research Center has come out with all sorts of data helping us understand that fewer and fewer people are naming that they are affiliated with any kind of religious tradition, let alone Christian. As we consider this information and take a look at who we really are, we'll continue to look at this data, share it with our general ministry, share it with our regions, and one of the exciting things is that we're going to be able to drill down even more into congregational data to let us know what's happening within our regions, and we're already providing a lot of that information to the regional ministers, and they're soon going to be able to do it on their own. Grateful for the IT capabilities and the data nerds who have been working alongside me to help provide this important tool to the church. The more we know and understand about who we are as church, the better off and easier it will be for us to make important decisions about the life of the church. One last point I want to make is that our church, as I said earlier, is in a huge season of change. We are seeing huge changes within the College of Regional Ministers. To date, in a little over 7 years that I have been in office, I have installed 15 regional ministers. 3 of those included people who are moving from one region to another, but 15 regions have made changes in their regional ministers. There are another 9 regions that are currently in search. We have 31 regions. 1 region that's considering merging yet with another, and 3 regions, the Tri-Regional Partnership, Kansas, Greater Kansas City, and Nebraska, who have been engaged in creative, collaborative activity around leadership, learning how to lead with a focus on adaptive change, sharing resources, thinking about how they can do regional ministry differently together. So much change. Over half of the regional ministers have changed in my term alone, my first term. We are seeing important changes in personnel in the leadership of our general ministry units, with various people retiring. We have new leadership in DHM, DOM. We have new leadership in the Christian Church Foundation, new leadership with the Disciples of Christ Historical Society, new leadership with Disciples Women. Important changes, new people sitting in different seats, bringing a different vision, bringing different ideas. And in the midst of all of that, what's so important is that as the fabric is now made up of many different threads, we have to re-knit our fabric. Threads have been pulled and separated, and people have retired and gone to different ministry assignments. But together, church, we have to knit together a new life on a regular, consistent basis, constantly looking at ourselves to see how we can ensure that the fabric that we create from our beautiful diversity remains strong. And it will look different, but it will still be knit together by the limitless love of God that binds us both to God, God's covenant of love, which binds us to God and to one another, something that we proclaim in the preamble to the design. So much change afoot. I am excited to know that you will be considering the re-election of your own regional minister, the Reverend Richie Sanchez, who is the first Hispanic male in that region. And we're excited for Richie's coming re-election and praying that God speaks and allows him to continue to serve your region with faithfulness and diligence and with passion and heart. I ask that as you pray for him and as you make that decision, that you would be prayerful. And as you move forward, continue to pray for him. Pray for me. Pray for all the leaders in our church. Pray for those who are giving particular leadership to this season of change through the implementation team that's seeking to help us to implement GA 2343. Pray for Reverend Belva Brown Jordan. Pray for our moderator of the General Assembly, Elder Clyde Hunt. Pray for our moderator-elect, Cindy Kim Hengst. Our first vice moderator, Reverend Lisa Miranda. Pray for our second vice moderator, Reverend Eric Free. Pray for all of those who are working diligently on your behalf, and pray for our church that we may come to understand that this work is work that God has given us to do. It's not a project that will have an end date. It's simply continuing on a journey to always ask ourselves the question, who must we be as church in this day and time? Our forebears wanted us to remember that we would need to be in a constant process of looking at ourselves and considering what kinds of renewal we would need to undergo, what kinds of structural reform we would need to undergo. They didn't intend for it to stay the same as it was in 1969. And this is a historic change, one that I'm very excited about, because I believe God is using these changes to bring our church closer together, to help us strengthen our walk together, strengthen our ministry, strengthen our witness, to help us learn how to be with one another and how to walk together even when we disagree. This is the polar star of unity that's hard to do without the gift of the Holy Spirit. It's hard to do without your own deep spirituality, but it's possible because this is the way that Jesus has outlined for us to live together as church. Thank you for listening. I look forward to being with you in person very soon and can't wait to have further conversation. Happy to answer any questions when you see me there in person in California. And I want to invite you to stay tuned as you hear more dates for the town halls that will allow you an opportunity to get more detailed information and to answer your questions. Remember, God loves you, and so do I. The Church of Jesus Christ will prevail. The Christian Church Disciples of Christ will prevail. God bless you. See you soon.
Amen. Amen. We are excited that we will have our General Minister and President with us on tomorrow, but I'm going to take a point of privilege now as the moderator, and I'm going to call for a 1-minute break so that everyone can stand up and stretch and do toe touches or whatever you need to do. 1 minute. One minute moves very quickly. So thank you so much. We will return to the business at hand. Thank you very much. And we will continue this fellowship after our business meeting has concluded. But at this time, we will move on to our PSWR unit reports. And so as you can see, we will hear from All People's Community Center, Eastmont Community Center, Project Impact, and Disciples Seminary Foundation.
And enjoy a whole week out here with All People's staff. Thanks to our partners, Disciples of Christ, All People's Christian Church, our youth are able to come here year after year since the 50s. We've had youth who've been coming since they were in elementary school who are now helpers. Our staff are led by our youth director, Daisy, and here, again, just ensuring that our youth have a great time, a safe time, and enjoy themselves. We do many other activities here at camp, including hiking all the way to Inspiration Point, where the youth get to sleep under the stars at night. They also do watermelon hike, game competitions, game nights, and of course they get to swim, which is everyone's favorite. Who loves to swim at camp? inspiration point. We have youth hike up here and actually spend the night right up here on this huge mountaintop. They get to spend the night under the stars, tell stories, tell jokes, connect with one another, and also connect with our staff. It's a beautiful space up here, as you can see, and we love that we get to share this with the youth. One of the fun activities that our youth get to enjoy here at camp is crafts. They get to express themselves, make things like hats, bags, and right now they're making their IDs for the big dance tonight. Hi friends and partners, I'm here in the
Welcome to Eastmont Community Center, where love of our neighbor is at the core of everything we do.
For 56 years, we've provided vital services rooted in instilling compassion, hope, and empowerment. People from all walks of life turn to us, each facing their own unique challenges. We're here to support them every step of the way. Through our health and wellness programs, we've invested over $1.2 million to ensure that more than 6,000 families receive the care they need. Just last year, we distributed over 250,000 pounds of food to East LA residents, thanks to partnerships like those with the LA Regional Food Bank, which have allowed us to expand our nutrition education classes and food distribution efforts. In response to the digital divide made more apparent by the pandemic, we launched the Digital Skills for Life classes, empowering our older adults with the tools they need to connect with their loved ones and access essential resources in an increasingly digital world. Our volunteer income tax assistance program helped over 1,200 families receive federal and state refunds, bringing back $1.7 million into the hands of those who need it most. With the support of National AmeriCorps volunteers and new partnerships with LA County, we expanded these services to reach communities like Long Beach, Compton, and the San Gabriel Valley. This year, Eastmont Community Center expanded our reach beyond our walls, connecting with the broader community through media outlets that amplify our mission. Thanks to media platforms like El Violín por la Mañana, Spectrum News, and Telemundo, we were able to share our story, spread awareness of our programs, and reach thousands of families who may need our support. Every year, our after-school and summer youth programs provide a safe and enriching space for over 100 young individuals. Thanks to the financial support we receive, these children enjoy field trips, outdoor activities, and lifelong memories, helping to shape the future leaders of our community. As hosts of 2 thriving farmers markets, Eastmont Community Center is proud to serve as a lifeline for families, students, and seniors in East Los Angeles. Through our Market Match program, we've provided over $43,000 in additional support to EBT recipients, making fresh, nutritious food more accessible to those who need it most. Our markets are more than just food. They're a hub for community and entrepreneurship. Local vendors and small businesses have found a space to grow and thrive within our markets, and this year we're taking that support to the next level. We're excited to announce the launch of our Entrepreneurship Readiness Program, a new initiative designed to empower local entrepreneurs. This year, we'll be supporting a cohort of 10 small businesses, helping them turn their dreams into reality with training, mentorship, and resources. This year, we were honored to be nominated as one of California's Nonprofits of the Year, a recognition of the hard work we've dedicated to supporting families in East Los Angeles and surrounding communities. With the support of our donors and the continued hope that we can create a better world, we're encouraged for what the future has in store. Together, we can make a lasting difference.
Hi, my name is Matt Harris. Along with my wife, Mary, we are founders of Project Impact. On behalf of our board of directors, staff, and program participants, we would like to take this time to thank the Pacific Southwest region for your generous support of Project Impact.
This year marks the start of a new chapter in the life of our agency with the launch of our mental health program that includes Medi-Cal certification. This allows us to expand our service to youth and families in unserved and underserved areas of LA County by providing individual and group counseling, targeted case management, crisis intervention, family preservation services, along with personal development workshops.
In a recent meeting with staff and social workers with Compton Unified, we discussed ways Project Impact could support the academic success of students within the district. What emerged from our conversation was clear. Academic achievement does not exist in a vacuum separate from those influences that significantly impact a student's growth and development.
Drawing from our 38 years of service, we recognize that a collaborative approach yields the best results when supporting youth who face challenges related to abuse and neglect. More than connecting children, youth, and families to services, we are connecting them to a community that provides a comprehensive continuum of care that supports the entire family.
We're excited to be in partnership with our regional church and community to offer mental health services. Together, we look forward to building bridges of support, ensuring that no child faces their journey alone. Moving forward, we remain determined in our belief that personal growth and success can be achieved when compassion and collaboration are working together with church and community. Again, on behalf of our staff and program participants, thank you so much for your support of Project Impact.
And may God richly bless you.
Hello, PSWR. I'm Christy Newton, Executive Director of Disciple Seminary Foundation, and we are delighted to be in covenanted relationship with you. DSF has been building courageous connections that empower diverse theological leaders since the 1960s. These connections inspire myriad bold ministries committed to justice, hospitality, spiritual exploration, and deep spaces of God's grace. We support the formation of theological leaders in a number of ways, including scholarships, spiritual direction, a new mentoring program, opportunities to attend regional and general events like this one, spiritual practice gatherings, and regular opportunities to connect virtually and in person with representatives from the wider Disciples Church.
And now I invite you to listen to our current students who will present DSF's core values and how they show up in their ministry.
Hello, I'm Connie Miroslav, an MDiv student at Claremont School of Theology and a music ministry leader at my congregation. One of DSF's core values is diversity, honoring the many backgrounds, needs, and callings of our students. As a woman and mother of an LGBTQ child, I value DSF's commitment to diversity and aim to create spaces where everyone feels valued and empowered to pursue their unique calling within their community and the disciples of Christ.
Hello, my name is Bri Brannon. I use they, them pronouns, and I am an MDiv student at ILIF School of Theology. One of DSF's core values is inclusion, creating a safe space and path for students to learn, thrive, and grow. With DSF, I have felt welcome to bring my whole queer self and included as a UCC student with an ecumenical background. As a white person of European descent, I am supported as I continue to learn and lead reckoning with racism efforts within Christianity on Turtle Island.
Hi, my name is Ryan Cullenberg. I'm a recent graduate from Claremont School of Theology with a Master's of Divinity degree. I am currently serving as the Associate Pastor of Harvard Christian Church in Newport Beach, and I'm also the director of our environmental spirituality ministry that we call Blue Theology, that invites youth from all over the country to come stay with us in Newport Beach and to explore the natural beauty that surrounds us, and just to reconnect with the earth and to see God and to see the Spirit in all things. And one of DSF's core values is innovation, utilizing creativity and vision to value tradition and to celebrate new possibilities. And I just want to thank DSF for giving me the opportunity to pursue my passion, to pursue my calling, and to make a dramatic change in my careers in my 40s to pursue my love of the environment and my love of God and the Spirit, and seeing it in all things and seeing the interconnectedness between the natural world and the human world, and realizing there is no distinction, there is no difference, we are all one. Thank you, DSF.
My name is Brady Sorkson. I'm a PhD student at Claremont School of Theology. I also serve as the pastor of Mission Gathering Christian Church and the president of Religion Studios. One of DSF's core values is integrity, committing to speak and act with clarity, honesty, and authenticity. Like so many of my fellow disciples, I feel called to preach the scriptures prophetically. So I'm grateful for DSF's commitment to speak truth to privilege and power and prejudice. And through DSF's investment in my seminary education, I have felt more equipped to embody this prophetic call, both as a practical theologian in my church ministry and as a public theologian in my online ministry.
Hi, my name is Najan Saina Tuilemotu, and I am an MDiv student at the Pacific School of Religion. I also serve on the leadership of the Samoan Christian Olafo New Life Church here in Marina, California. One of DSF's core values is generosity, connecting students with the abundance of resources from a faithful and inspired Christian community. As a Samoan American Christian woman, I am grateful for DSF's commitment to assisting students through a surplus of resources that's helped pave the educational and spiritual background for students such as myself and all throughout the disciples of Christ.
In collaboration with you here in the Pacific Southwest region and all of our stakeholders and partners, I believe we can continue to expand the welcome of God's table by investing in transformative and creative leadership for a thriving and diverse church.
Thanks to our units who are doing an extraordinary work, as we can see through these reports. Thank you so much, units and unit heads who presented us with those videos. Mr. Vice Moderator, what is the next item of business?
I'd like to call Reverend Rebecca Littlejohn forward to the lectern, and let Alma Gonzalez and Reverend Brian Daly know that they'll be up next. Madam Moderator, the next item of business is the introduction of the nominating committee report.
So now Reverend Rebecca Littlejohn is now at the podium to now share with us the report.
Good afternoon, church.
Good afternoon.
Just checking, you're still awake. All right, okay. I'd like to call your attention to the nominating committee report, which you can find on pages 22 and 23 in your program booklet. If you would like to follow along, you can do so there as I read the names of the nominees. Today, I will introduce the slate. The Assembly will be asked to vote on the nominations at tomorrow's business session. Nominees, if you are present in the room with us here, I invite you to stand as your name is called and remain standing. And if that doesn't work for you, if you can hold your arm up in the air, that would be great. So we want to know who you are. The nominees for the officers of the corporation are Moderator Joy Robinson, First Vice Moderator, Tanya Lopez. Second Vice Moderator, Rip Ripito. Treasurer, Paul Turner. Additional nominees for the Executive Committee as members at large include David Becerra, Junsu An, and Sarah Ritchie. Nominees for committee chairs include Ian Pollard, Haley Smart, Alice Anderson, Sandy Roberts, Daryl Haley, Linda Gardner, Sherry Mateer, Phil Fowler, Susan Richardson, Yung Kyung Lee Hill, Eddie Anderson, Catherine Engel, Mark Harper, Mary Harris, Brandon Johnson, Beth Chiaravelli, and Samuel Silva. The nominee for youth representative is Valeria Orozco. Jin Suk Chun is our nominee to serve as the Pacific Southwest Regional Representative to the General Church Board of Directors. Nominees for at-large members of the board, you already heard some of those. They were members of the Executive Committee and the board at large. These are just members at large of the board. Include Isai Alvarez Jr., Donna Campbell, Luis Campos, Hunya Do, Mamoy, and Annie Richardson. In addition, members of the Permanent Funds Committee, so they are called Permanent Funds Trustees. Okay, I think this is wrong. This isn't a 3-year term, it's a 2-year term. To serve a 2-year term, that's what they were promised, beginning January 1st, 2025, include Alma Gonzalez, Bill Jacobs, and Dav Kavatingen. Please note that in addition to these nominees that the Assembly will vote upon tomorrow, the board also includes appointed representatives from the following organizations: our 5 PSWR ministry partners, All People's Community Center, Chapman University, Disciple Seminary Foundation, Eastmont Community Center, and Project Impact, and our recognized groups, North American Pacific Asian Disciples, Convención del Hispano Pacifico, African American Convocation, and Alliance Q PSWR. Look how pretty they are. Thank you. Seated.
I want to say a very big thank you to the nominating committee led by Reverend Rebecca Littlejohn for their challenging and their crucial work. And for, yes, please, let's give them a hand. Some of you know how they have come to you, and some of you have turned them down, but they'll come back though, so watch out for them next year. So thank you so much, nominating committee. Are there any nominations from the floor? Okay, thank you very much. So at this time, I recognize Alma Gonzalez from the Executive Committee.
Madam Moderator, on behalf of the Executive Committee, I would like to nominate Lawrence Donner, layperson male, Mill Creek Christian Church, Bakersfield, and Richard Foyer, layperson male, First Christian Church, North Hollywood, to serve as co-chairs of the nominating committee.
Thank you. I would like to ask Lorenz to stand, please. Thank you. And Richard to stand, please. Thank you. The Assembly has received the nominations. Are there any nominations further from the floor? Okay, just checking. All right. Mr. Vice Moderator, what is the next item of business?
Next item is the introduction of item 2024-2.
I call upon Reverend Brian Daly, Chair of the Review Team, to introduce Resolution 2024-2.
Good afternoon, church. It's always an honor to be with you all. And by the way, I'm just reminded by even the videos we just saw, what an honor and privilege it is to be a part of this region. Our review committee was formed by our esteemed regional moderator, Joy Robinson, in June of 2024. and tasked with doing a thorough review of Reverend Richie Sanchez during his 5th year of what is a 6-year term. Our committee's goal was to make a recommendation to the executive committee and to the regional board to either extend his contract for a second 6-year term or to open up a search and call process to hire a new regional minister whose term would begin following the conclusion of Reverend Sanchez's first term, which would be a year from now, the fall of 2025. The regional board was then tasked with either accepting our committee's recommendation or creating an alternate recommendation to bring before you for approval and vote. The board voted to bring forth our committee's recommendation to you, this assembly. To summarize the process used in forming our recommendation, we began by creating a survey tool that we could disseminate throughout the region and to others who work with Richie, including other regional ministers, general church units and constituency groups, Chapman University, DSF, ecumenical, and interfaith partners. The survey questions were largely created using Reverend Sanchez's position description as a reference. We received 170 responses to the survey, many with detailed comments. Our committee did a thorough job of assessing the numeric values attached to each question and of reading through every one of your comments. By the way, we are grateful for the input that we got. It was extensive and it was helpful. A majority of the respondents expressed that Reverend Sanchez meets or exceeds expectations in most of the categories. The positive attributes attributed to Richie are as follows, and many of these were derived from your comments. Compassion and kindness, words used frequently under this heading, including personable, warm, approachable, humble, passionate, and a good listener. Intercultural competence. Many expressed their appreciation for his involvement with and sensitivity to the racial and cultural diversity in our region. Spirit-filled and pastoral presence. Many expressed their appreciation for the way his love for God is expressed in his care and concern for those that he serves. Managing finances. Several noted that their appreciation for his understanding of the region's finances and his ability to make fiscally sound decisions to better steward the monies entrusted in the region's care. The primary concerns that surfaced throughout the survey were as follows. Vision, the need to formulate and articulate a vision. Communication, better communication needed both personally and amongst and between congregations, units, and various groups and ministries. Equipping leaders, the need to better equip and support pastors and churches in revitalization efforts and in beginning new ministries. And accessibility, the need to be more accessible and available. When asked in the final question if the respondent would recommend Reverend Sanchez for a second term, a clear majority responded yes. In summary, after thoroughly assessing and discussing the survey results, our committee recommended that the regional board renew Reverend Sanchez's call for a second 6-year term. We also recommended that the regional board continue to work collaboratively with him to address the concerns that surfaced in the survey results. On September the 6th, the regional board voted to accept this recommendation and to join in recommending Reverend Sanchez for a second term and to bring this recommendation to you as the Regional Assembly. At this time, now I don't know if you heard the timeline, we were formed in June. All of this was done over the summer. This committee deserves your expressions of gratitude.
Yes.
So if I may, I would like to invite our committee to stand so you know who it is you just clapped for. Belva Brown Jordan. Eddie Anderson. Stephen Hahn. Kennedy Jameson. Valeria Orozco. You obviously wore them all out because I don't see any of them here right now except Belva. Oh, okay, school, yes. Jess Kim. Alma Gonzalez. Catherine Engel. And we had two non-voting members of our committee, Candace Black-Wells, who served as our secretary. Very grateful to Candace. I think she's here, actually, somewhere. There she is. And Andy Mangum, who I'd be very surprised if he's here because he's the regional minister in the Southwest region, but he acted as a consultant and was very helpful as well. So for all of them, we give thanks.
Thank you, Reverend Daly, and the entire review committee. They did sacrifice their summer to do this process, and it was very extensive and very thorough, and I thank you so much. And we thank you for your extensive work. So this resolution is brought to the Assembly by a board committee and is presumed to have been seconded. So both a discussion and a vote will occur during tomorrow's business session. Mr. Vice Moderator, what is the next item of business?
The next item of business is the recognition of congregations which have become fully recognized by the Pacific Southwest region during the past 2 years.
Wonderful. I would like to invite Reverend Richie Sanchez, our very own regional minister, and Reverend Eddie Anderson, if he's here somewhere, who is the chair of the New Church Development Committee, to come to the microphone at this time.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I continue to express deep gratitude for all of the work that is happening before you. I had known that Brian and many of our friends accepted the call and that it was the summer, and I'm so grateful for their sacrifices. Eddie Anderson, as you see, is not with me. He's with me, I'm sure, at heart for this opportunity that we get to celebrate amongst us individuals who have been in our care as New Church starts, and so I'm hoping that members or the pastors of Las Vegas Joyful Church is here. Is Reverend Doe, Reverend Song present? Okay, well, you all there in the hallway? Okay. So while they make their way from the hallway, I love our region, I really do. You make it easy for me. The Centro de Alabanza Emanuel, the members of Centro de Alabanza de Emanuel, the pastors. Oh, if you could just join. Are you pastors here too? Yes? No. Okay. Would we have time to do that? Oh, the Reverend Song and Reverend Doe are here, so great. I'd like to invite Las Vegas Joyful Church, and if we have time, we'll do that. So come join me if you can. Kilmuck, if you could come also, to translate just in case if you need to, Yes. Come forward, come. You come to just translate. For us, it is an honor that you have chosen to be in covenant with this region for all of the years that you have continued to labor and for the gifts of God that happen through your lives. It has been a privilege to visit time and time again Las Vegas and for you to be careful to make sure that I eat as much sushi or much sashimi as possible. I want to say on behalf of the new church development committee, they are going to miss you because after the years of you being under care and for all of the prayer and the support, they get to send you off to become one of our recognized congregations. And so today we're going to ask you to take a picture so this way we can have that available also in your ministry. And I want to say how proud I am of you. So we're going to take this picture, but I'm also going to say something very special about Reverend Song and Reverend Doe. Sometimes we ask about the life of the work that we do together, and I'm proud to announce that Reverend Song and Reverend Doe have had conversations with Reverend John Bain. I think John Bain is here, yes? So John, why don't you come up? I know that you're right. Is that okay? Reverend John Bain, with a lot of conversations, a lot of meetings, a lot of prayer, together with his board moderator, and the opportunity to have both boards sit together with me and Kim Monk, had come together with a dream. And so for them, they have now this opportunity to not only worship as two congregations together, but to dream about the possibilities of the future. And so it is always difficult when a church decides to sell its property or sell the sacred space where all these collective memories have happened for so many years. And so First Christian Church Las Vegas has dared to join into this dynamic to be able to sell that big property that no longer serves them in the best way, but to invite Las Vegas Joyful Church into this experience that when the property is sold, that they might dream together and partner in a purchase of a property that would serve both of their needs, for us to have a critical disciples presence for a long, long time. So friends, I know time is getting away from us, and we do have dinner. Somebody asked me if there's dinner and what's for dinner. And so there is dinner, and there are wonderful tacos, I understand. So I would be remiss if I don't acknowledge just for a few seconds, there are always ministerial transitions that occur for us in this region. The opportunity to walk alongside our congregations in many, many forms of transition. And I would be remiss if I don't acknowledge those that have become ordained between the time that last we have celebrated our assembly till today. And so I'm just going to go and read their names, even though that they're in your booklet on page 19. The Reverend now Alex Kipp, Reverend Ben Bond, Reverend Eula Pagdalao, Reverend Marco Santiago, Reverend Abimael Betancourt, Reverend Yvette Hernandez. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. If you see a lot of reverends at this table, right? Yvette started with us as a lay leader, and to be able to walk alongside her these last 4 years has been amazing, and to stand with her for her ordination. The Reverend Aaron Van Voorhees, Reverend Neri Young, Reverend Young Kang, Reverend Carolyn Beth Parker, Reverend Kelly Ravenscraft, and Reverend David Becerra. All of those that I mentioned, if you're here, if you just please stand, just so we can give you some flowers and some acclamation. And with that, we do install new pastors. Our general pastor talked about a lot of transitions. One of the hardest transitions that I've had to walk with was the congregation of First Christian Church North Hollywood when we said goodbye to a beloved pastor in our midst, the Reverend Bob Bach. And I couldn't be any happier about the work under the care and leadership of I almost said Reverend, of Richard Follett as chair of the search committee, and the opportunity then now to have celebrated 100 years just a few weeks ago, and to see Reverend Dr. Jonathan Hall's leadership to call this congregation to the reminder that Jesus has led us to understand that we are here to do even greater works than his life was able to accomplish. And so I was there, very proud of Jonathan and all the work he's doing. And in addition, Reverend Beth Chiarale could testify that I stood with her the entire process. Her search chair is here. So I won't go too much because we got indeed a lot to go, but I want to say so proud of the work that Reverend Beth Chiarale has done as associate pastor together with Dana Kincaid at First Christian Church Orange. The Reverend Nathan Hill, I think, is in the house. Yes, indeed. Hallelujah. We not only got Reverend Nathan Hill, but we also got young Lee Hill together in his transition to the beautiful Church of the Foothills, and his two children, and one of them I think will be reading scripture for us a little later, so we continue to get talented, gifted individuals in our midst. Reverend Kate Hogue, many of you will hear a video greeting about what's happening in the island of Hawaii, together with Wahiawa Christian Church in Honolulu. That video will happen in worship, but also, so they got a new pastor, which is not listed here, but that's Reverend Nanette Nan Riddle, but also the Christ Church Uniting Disciples of Christ, which is a yoke between us and also the Presbyterian. Kate Hogue actually has a Master's of Divinity from I want to say Texas Christian University, Bright Divinity, and parents that are disciples of Christ. But she decided to become Presbyterian. And so I was giving you these details so you can see how God kind of works. And so she is on the island of, the city of Kailua, blessing our lives. Many of you may know Reverend Michael Sutherland, who has been together with Mill Creek Christian Church as their interim for quite some time, and it was such a blessing to see the congregation to step in and call him as the new senior pastor. In addition to another transition that I had to we had to endure together, was the announcement of the retirement of the Reverend Dr. John Tunstall, who I affectionately say is my big brother. Indeed, when he had shared with me the news of his desire to retire, I wanted to say, no, please don't do that. I got too much going on. But at the same time, we were blessed in this search process to be able to bring back, I want to say, one of yours to bless this experience with the able and the soon Reverend, and he's already a Reverend, I'm going to give you that, the Reverend Terry Kuhn Jr., and so I'm sure Abundant Life is blessed double. And I didn't have time to show you a picture, but maybe we'll do that tomorrow. Those of us that might remember Heather Barfield. How many of us remember Heather? Heather's an amazing minister and leader, and she had been serving as associate pastor in Hawaii for quite some time, and everyone was just giving God praise for the Kapili, Kamua Kapili Church, which is a United Church of Christ congregation that has, I think it's the oldest there in Honolulu, which means that they have they have memory of when we went into to Hawaii, but for her to be able to be by her side and at the invitation of the conference minister, for me to fly there to celebrate with Heather and that congregation what God has done. And so, friends, no more about those pieces, but we thought it was important to acknowledge the ministerial transitions that are happening, and thanks be to God for those. Amen.
Amen.
Mr. Vice Moderator, are there any other items of business to be brought to the Assembly at this time?
No, Madam Moderator. I move that the meeting be adjourned until tomorrow, October 19th at 11 a.m. and further that we go and eat tacos.
Well, it has been moved that the meeting be adjourned. Do I hear a second? All right. Well, then that means that our meeting is adjourned.